Hi, this is Sydney White, and I'm going to be talking about my response to the needs and challenges disaster video. So, question one asked, "What are the needs and challenges of the heroic phase?" So, the heroic phase is the phase following the disaster phase, where there is an influx of volunteers who come in to help um, start the disaster relief following a crisis. Um, Typically, this is a bunch of different people, bunch of different organizations. Some of the bigger ones are like FEMA and Red Cross, but also local ones like local churches come in and they are working to help alleviate that immediate disaster. Things like rescue, things like recovery, things like cleanup following a disaster. In this case, Hurricane Katrina. I know from personal experience, the biggest things then are providing things like water, food, and shelter for people that have experienced any type of uh, crisis following the hurricane. During the heroic phase, there is a lot of energy, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of positive outlook because there is such an influx of people and money going towards this specific situation. Um, like the video stated, there's a sense of coming together. Um, People are energized. There's a greater sensitivity to the Lord and Savior, especially because when you have an influx of Christians, they feel like they are doing the Lord's work, and so by doing so, they're following their calling as a follower of Christ. Um, so that is the needs. The challenges of the heroic phase is that because so many people are coming in, there's such a high energy. People don't know when to pause and take breaks for themselves. There's not really a plan for self care. Um, from my understanding, there is not necessarily a organizational message of self care either. Especially when there is such a juxtaposition for people that are coming in who have homes, who have safe water, warm beds, things like that, coming in to help people that may have just lost everything. And so when you are looking at it from that perspective, you feel like, oh, you can just continue to work, continue to overextend yourself. Um, but that leads into question two, which is the honeymoon phase, and where people can experience the crash point. So these people that came in with so much energy, they've been working around the clock, and eventually they are going to run out of that energy, and it's going to take a physical toll on them. Um, this typically is happening to the volunteers, and it's happening because there is no plan for self care, like I explained a second ago. Um, while the joy and the energy is ridiculously positive, um, there can't be progress if there are no volunteers on the ground because of the lack of self care. Um, so that is question two. Question three says during the disillusionment phase, fear, anger, and hopelessness can set in. What types of clinical conditions may develop from these circumstances, and what type of treatment is best to overcome them? Um, I think I will first address the clinical conditions. So, clinical conditions that can occur are things like addictive behaviors and violence. Specifically, drug and alcohol abuse is increased. So is violence, specifically domestic violence. I believe the video referenced a huge increase in domestic violence, especially in the fisherman community, where their entire industry was devastated due to Hurricane Katrina. And the way that it was described in the video was that people were